Right. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this special, extra special webinar that we have today. On the line with us, I have my mentor, my longtime mentor, since toward the very beginning of my real estate investing career, Todd Dotson, on the line with us. Todd, say hi to everybody real quick.
Hey everybody, excited to be here tonight, and Tim, I'm excited about us doing this event together. We've got some great stuff lined up as we conquer California.
Exactly, and that's, folks, that's what you're about to learn today. Well, actually, you're not here to really learn anything. What you are here is to learn, to discover, to find out about a project that that my mentor Todd and I are doing. I've mentioned to you guys before, California is right now. I mean, there's tons and tons of opportunities out there in California right now, and Todd and I were talking a few weeks ago, and he was, because Todd is one of the most active real estate investors that I know of, and he does this throughout the entire country, and so he knows every market. He knows exactly where you can make money, and we were talking, and he told me about how much opportunities there are in California. And and for us to go out there and buy some properties, invest in some real estate, and so I asked Todd, hey, well, it's great that we're gonna go out there and make a lot of money. Can we bring some of our students along so that way they too can make a lot of money with this project that we're doing? And so we're calling this project Operation Get In, Get Out, Get Pay, California. And that's what I want to share with you today. It's about that this project that we're going to go out there in Los Angeles in about a month here. In about a month here to attack the California market and make a lot of money with it. So to give you a little bit of introduction on my mentor Todd here. Todd has been a longtime mentor of mine since 2004. You see, when I first got started in real estate investing, I got into doing rehabbing, and I was doing some deals, making some money, but boy, it was a lot of work, right? And it was a lot of work, a lot of headache with contractors and all kinds of stuff. And I wanted, and also too, my cash flow was very unpredictable. Because sometimes I'll buy a property. It'll take me 3 to 6 months to fix it up. It takes me another 3 to 6 months to get it sold. And sometimes it takes even longer than that. And so from the time that I go from getting paid on a deal to the next deal, it's like at least 6 to 12 months down the road, sometimes even more. And it was just the income was really unstable. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that fact that much, and my wife certainly didn't like that either. And so I learned about Todd through another mentor of mine, who Todd was his mentor. So Todd is like a mentor to to my mentor. It's like, well, if he's a mentor to my mentor, then I need to look into I need to look into Todd and see what he's doing. And from there, I went to a boot camp that Todd did in Dallas, and joined his program. And that's where I learned how to invest in vacant properties, vacant houses, and learn how to do wholesaling. And from that was and just on the vacant, I made a lot of money on wholesaling in general. I did a lot of different type of marketing to make money in wholesaling, but just on the vacant houses by itself. And Todd taught more than just vacant houses. That was the only thing that that I wanted to focus in on to implement at that time after I learned from Todd. But just on the vacant houses alone, it made me over $1 million in my. That was how I made my first $1 million in real estate, is from wholesaling those vacant houses. And at any given time, I got really good with it, Todd, and hopefully this will make you proud. But at any given time, I was working on 1,000 to 2,000 vacant houses at a time here in Houston.
Wow.
And I hired I have several bird dogs that were out there scouting through all of these zip codes that I told them to go to, just like what you taught us in class in the program, to go out there and target all of these zip codes. So the first thing I did was I had my staff. I turned them into bird dogs. I turned some other newbie investors into bird dogs. Had them go out there, scout on all of these zip codes that I wanted and get me those vacant houses, and then we started to send out letters, signs, track them down, did all the stuff that you taught, and I made a killing in the vacant house wholesaling business. And so I have you to thank for that, and I appreciate you greatly for that. And just so everybody know, Todd has been involved in so many deals, between Todd and his students, which also includes me. We probably have done like 1 billion houses or something. It's a lot.
An awful lot for sure.
and Todd has this whole, I don't know if you're still keeping up with it, still updating it, Todd, but I remember you had this whole big binder of checks.
Yes.
From yourself and from other students, and you have this slogan, "Checks don't lie," and it's so true. There's like checks after checks after checks. It was the thing that all of those checks was what got me really serious in listening to what you have to say. It's like, look, just like you said, these checks don't lie. If all of these people can do it, I can do it. And that's what that's what got me to start in a big way in real estate investing. And like I said, I want to thank you so much for all that you helped me with, and I really appreciate this opportunity to work with you on this project out in California and bring some of our students, some of our best students, to that are in California or the nearby states. To bring them out there and invest in California as well. So thank you, and thank you for being on this call too.
Hey, you're most welcome, and I'm really excited about it. We're going to share some great stuff tonight. We're going to go really fast because we've got a lot to cover. And yes, Tim, I'm going to show a lot of checks so that the people that are watching this webinar live or by the replay can really begin to see their name on one of these checks. And through the years, I've cataloged thousands and thousands of these, and it's been said that I've got more than these than any other guru in the space, and in some cases, maybe all of them combined. And certainly, you were a good number of those. And so, excited just to really jump into this evening. This was a shot of Tim and I, several years back at an alumni function, and I grabbed this from the archive as well, and just wanted to show everybody you and I in our Tommy Bahama shirts, because real estate investing really should be about a lifestyle, but in order to get to that lifestyle, you really got to treat real estate with a battle plan. And tonight we're going to talk about that battle plan because, Tim, I've got to be honest with the people that right now the roadways are littered with the bodies of dead real estate investors who, over the last few years, played without a plan. And they got hooked into this whole irrational exuberance thing, and they didn't have the ability to get in, get out, and get paid like I taught you, and like I continue to teach and continue to do. And so we're going to talk about that battle plan that really will help you be successful in this business. Before I do, just a funny little story. Just shows the power of information. This was a house that I did not too long ago. I live in Arlington, Texas today. Have been here since 1993, but was born and raised in the San Jose Bay Area, so I know California extremely well, the entire state. But picked this house up a while ago. A little 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick, nothing too fancy here in Arlington, Texas, and had a lady and her husband. He had passed away. They had lived there pretty much their entire married life, and she needed to sell the home and contacted me, and we went ahead and put it under contract. And Tim, I'm still using the simple 1-page contract. I just found through the years that the seller says yes, and a confused mind always says no, folks. And this 1-page contract is just real understandable. We cross out half the items. It's an all-cash deal. And so Leola was her name, and her husband was the Carl James Lucas you see here on the contract. He had passed away. and she would need to sell the home, agreed to buy it for $22,000, worth about $45,000 as it sat in that particular condition. That's the second half of the contract there. So got this property under contract and then went about working on finding my buyer. And I showed you the picture before, and I'm happy to say this is my after picture. So folks, when your before and after looks like this, you're either crazy or you're good. We didn't get into all kinds of heavy rehab. I just put up a couple of signs, my patented cash for houses stop signs, some streamer flags, got that whole garage sale mentality thing going. And lo and behold, I had a buyer that emerged and agreed to give me $28,000 for the property. Now, what's really fun about this, and the reason I'm showing it, is look at the address of this property at the very top of the contract, filled out by hand. Again, I like this casual approach in the trenches, in the field, hitting the streets. That's where the action happens. That's where we're going to make it happen there in Southern California, both in Los Angeles and Orange County. But 822 North Oak Street was the property address there in Arlington, Texas. He agreed to buy it for $28,000. I had it under contract for $22,000. One of the things that we're going to teach you is how to get big, upfront, non-refundable deposits so that if they don't perform by chance, you still get paid. In this case, he performed, but I had 5,000 reasons to kind of help him along that performance track. And so we're going to teach you exactly how to do that, just as I did Tim a number of years ago. He signed the contract there, and we were good to go. There's a copy of that check for $5,000. Now, what's real important here, folks, is at the very top of that check, I want you to see what his address was. His address is 711 North Oak Street. Now, that's where he lives. The subject property was 822 North Oak Street. Folks, you could throw a rock from the house that I flipped him to the house that he lives in. Now, this was an investor who owned 5 or 6 rental properties. He liked to rehab them and rent them. You know, why in the world did he not beat me to the punch? He actually knew the family that lived there. The reason he didn't is he didn't have the information, the things that we're going to talk about tonight and the things that Tim and I are going to be sharing with you in person, live, no cutout cardboard figures. Tim and I there with a very small select group when we conquer California together. So got that $5,000. This is a picture of Leola. She is on my left, and then a family friend, and I actually drove them to the closing there at Stewart Title here in Texas. And what a neat feeling to help her get out of this property, put another investor into it. Everybody won in this deal, and I was able to get in, get out, get paid without cash, without credit, and I'm going to show you tonight how to do it without luck. So the battle plan that you bring to this business is going to make you or it's going to break you, and I'm happy to say that we've got a seamless battle plan that's been tested in every major market in the country. I developed the nation's first on-site mentoring program. I've been in every major market in the country, a claim that only I and those that have been on my team can actually make. And so tonight I'm going to share with you some of the insights that I've gained having mentored the entire nation over the last 10, 15 plus years. Tim, I've got a lot I'm going to cover. I'm fired up. As you can tell, I'm always fired up. If you want to chime in here, my friend, just cut me off and chime in, because I know you've got some good things to say, and I know you're going to be real involved in this whole process as well. You know, like I said, I was raised in the Bay Area there in California, and when I was a sophomore at San Jose State University, I ended up getting a degree in English with an emphasis in teaching. But when I was a sophomore, I had a chance to do a research paper outside of my major. And I did a research paper on getting rich in America. I really wanted to know, where does wealth and financial independence come from? And you know, I discovered some things then that are still true today. And most people that get rich in America do it usually one of 3 ways. They do it through inheritance, they do it through starting their own business, or they do it getting involved in real estate. In my particular case, I wasn't going to do it through inheritance. My father was a minister, a pastor in California for 30 years. He went to school with Rick Warren, who wrote the book, The Purpose-Driven Life. Some of you may be familiar with that. So I wasn't going to inherit any money. My mom was a teacher, but I was brought up in just a tremendous home that really gave me laid the groundwork for me to go on and have the success that I've done today, and I'm so grateful for that. The second thing was people starting their own business, and you know, I really didn't want to get a franchise with a dry cleaning franchise or a sandwich shop. I didn't want to buy a job. That didn't really excite me, but real estate really excited me. And so I began to not only continue my education at San Jose State, but I also began to read books and listen to tapes. At the time, we didn't have the CDs back then. This was 1988, on real estate investing. And everything that I read, everything that I listened to, some of the live events that I attended said that I needed to develop, passive or residual income. And the formula that was taught back there was rental properties. Go out and buy a bunch of rental properties and try to cash flow $150 to $200 a month per unit. And eventually after, buying 20, 30, 40, 50 units, you'll replace the income on your job and you'll be financially independent. And so that's the path that I started on. The challenge was, as Tim knows, the San Jose Bay Area, even back in the late 80s, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home was selling for $375,000. Not $37,500, $375,000, and the most it was rent for was about $1,800. And I didn't know the things that I know today. I didn't punt on real estate. I just went a couple of hours over into the Central Valley and began buying rental properties in Modesto, California. Never forget that first duplex that I bought. It was a classic fixer-upper, peeling paint, bad yards, needed the carpets to be replaced, and all the light cosmetic work. It was a duplex actually, and we got it creatively financed. Had a good tenant in the front, and they paid on time when it was a dump, and we're happy to pay on time after we fixed it up. But for those of you that are landlords, you'll appreciate this, and I know Tim will too from his previous experience prior to us getting hooked together. The front unit was rented, but the back unit was a little bit different. It's one of those units that I call occupied but not rented. Occupied but not rented. Somebody was living there, they just weren't paying. So right out of the gate, I had an eviction process there in California, kind of cut my teeth on it. Was able to move through that whole process and begin acquiring a bunch of duplexes in the Central Valley. And I had success there, but something was still lacking, and I was continuing to search. I ended up graduating from San Jose State University in 1990, and I had a chance to go to work for the seminar company that actually got me started in 1988. It was when I went to that particular seminar company that I was exposed to opportunities in the state of Texas, where Tim and I happen to both live now. And I was so excited about Texas because my down payment in California was my total purchase price in many cases in Texas. And I was chasing the cash flow of $150 to $200 a month per unit or more, which I could accomplish even easier in Texas. So at a very young age, I was probably 26, I began buying apartments in the state of Texas. And it wasn't long before I had 100 or 200 apartment units throughout Texas, and decided in 1993 to actually move to the state of Texas, so leave California, move here to be closer to the properties that I have. And today, I hit the streets. I'm real aggressive as far as this business is concerned. I buy and sell houses. I teach people how to do that. I'm serious about it. That my license plate on my Hummer actually says, as does I buy. Tim knows I'm serious about this. Now, I got to tell you, my wife didn't want to be outdone in this whole process, and so her license plate says I buy too. And if you look at them side by side, that's what they look like. But we're serious about this business, not only buying and selling, but really helping other people achieve their goals of financial independence. But when I first moved to Texas, I didn't know the things that I know today, and so I began buying more and more units. If 100 units was good, then 200 would be better. And I was on this pursuit of more and more cash flow. And I buy properties, like this one pictured on the screen. This one actually is not too bad. Needed work on the inside. You can see some of the Texas, some fire ants and termites and those kind of things that we were dealing with there. But, I would buy these types of properties, and I'd fix them up, and I'd rent them, and then I'd refinance them. And, I was always very good, as Tim knows, at finding deals. I always could find deals cheaper than pretty much anybody else was, probably because I was good in the streets. And I'll never forget, I had this group of investors that were all buying properties like I was, and we would always have this conversation about our latest deals. What did you get your property for? How much are you going to put into it? What will it rent for? And ultimately, what everyone was trying to do was back into the numbers. How much is this property going to cash flow? Because everybody was trying to get $150 to $200 a month, per unit. And that was what was taught and still continues to be taught in a lot of the books that are authored by what I call the glossy covered book writers, who give you a philosophy, but they don't give you a plan. And one day I really began to question the validity of this plan that I was following. Was buy, rent, and hold the best way? And really what they didn't tell me early on is that when you buy all these rental income properties, you're supposed to have passive income. And what they didn't really tell me is there's nothing passive about it at all. If you don't collect the rent on Friday, it's gone for sure on Monday and maybe on Saturday. And so I was really questioning the validity of my plan when one day I had a fellow investor ask me, he said, Todd, I know you've got several properties under contract this month. You've got a house, a duplex, and a fourplex, and I know you're in constant buy mode. I need some inventory this month, for my own portfolio. Would you consider handing off 3 of those properties to me? And I said, well, I normally I buy them, I fix them, and I rent them and refinance them. If I need a cash infusion, I'll buy it, fix it, rent it, and sell it more at a retail basis to an investor. But I said, I'll think about it. And that night I went home and I began to think about it. And for those of you that are listening, maybe they're just getting started, maybe you're starting over because you followed a wrong plan. I began to think about what he said, and really what he was talking about doing was just stepping into my shoes. Me simply assigning him the contract, him stepping into the contract and closing on my behalf. We call it an assignment of contract. And I went home that night, and he said he'd give me $5,000 per contract. And the reason he would give me $5,000 per contract is he could still pay me $5,000 on that house, that duplex, and that fourplex, and get it less directly from me, turnkey, than he could finding it on his own. And so, I decided at that point in time, I was making 15, 20 grand a month positive cash flow. I had a lot of rental properties, but the rent didn't collect itself. And so when he said, hey, I'll give you 15 grand for these 3 properties, it really got me thinking. And as I began to question the validity of my plan, I decided I was going to take him up on that offer. I flipped him those 3 properties. I made $15,000 in a matter of days with no headaches, no rent collection, or what I call extraction. And at that point in time, I discovered something that I want to share with all of you, and I want you to write it down or at least make a middle note. You always think more clearly with money in your pocket. And there's no better way to put money in your pocket to pad your bank account or to get out of debt, to get started or restarted, than flipping properties without cash, credit, or luck, just like I taught Tim back in 2004. And so we're going to talk a lot about that. So I really began to switch up my plan, so much so that I set on a course to begin tactically finding and flipping properties, and then strategically buying and holding properties in better neighborhoods and in emerging markets, areas and markets that I hadn't really looked at before because I didn't have that luxury. I had to buy a lot of the low and moderate income properties so I could get those cash flows. But now that I was flipping properties, I replaced the income of my job quickly. I replaced the income from those rentals quickly, and so I sold all that stuff. And I was so confident in this new plan that in 1997 I rolled out the first wholesale buying boot camp on a nationwide level that focused specifically on flipping properties to what I call opportunity challenge investors that wanted to fix and rent predominantly. And that was highly successful, so much so that people would come from all over the country and I would teach them in a boot camp setting. But as I began to do this and students began to have success and that checks don't lie theme really began to resonate and it became my rallying cry, I was convinced that in 1998, not only could you come to me, but I could actually parachute into any market in the country, help somebody set up shop and successfully buy and sell to create immediate spendable cash. Now you got to realize at that point in time, the gurus, no one was doing this, said it can't be done. But I really believe that I could roll that out, that I could show people how to get in, get out, and get paid. And so in 1998, I developed the nation's first on-site mentoring program, not a phone coaching program manned by college kids with headsets. I'm talking about, me parachuting in, or one of my hand-picked trainers that's also a very successful investor, parachuting into your market, holding you by the hand, going into the streets where it really happens, giving you that loving kick in the assets, helping you make 100 offers of your very own on day one alone, and really helping you have success in this business. And so that was the beginning of the journey in 1998. I'm going to read you a lot of testimonials tonight. I'm going to go through them quickly, but this one comes from a student who I mentored when I met him at one of Robert Allen's events. and he said, I participated in the mentoring program. I sent Ty out. Ty was the mentor. I found an opportunity to talk to the local code enforcement. My mentor gave me the guidance, but also made me do the work as I structured the discussion with the owner, as well as how to get the deal done. Ty made me do the work. I was glad he did because he helped me get over the fear. Many people have that fear of doing it. After a couple of weeks of discussion, I finally got the owner to go with my plan. It was a burnt-down structure, a lot of trash and 4 abandoned vehicles. I corrected all the code violations, clearing a lot. No rehab, Tim, no building permits, no hard labor. It made over $121,000 on his first deal. Midway down there, he says, I've completed over 150 transactions. We've definitely gone tactical, and I owe a lot to you and your program. And Chuck is from the Southern California market, and there's a copy of his check for $121,000. And folks, that's exciting. Now, whether you make $10,000 or $121,000 or $1,000, the key is just flipping a property, showing yourself that you can do it. I sent Ty out to mentor him. This is a testimonial from Ty. I grabbed him as a student right out of the U.S. Navy SEALs, and Ty says if the Navy SEALs taught real estate, they'd be using Todd Dotson's tactical system. I should know I was a U.S. Navy SEAL. That's a copy of his check for $27,000 and a picture of Ty at one of my trainings a number of years ago. So, folks, this stuff works. It's hard-hitting. We're going to conquer California. We're going to drop in like a special operations team. We're going to help you make 100 offers of your very own, each person on day one alone. I'll get into that here in a little bit. But I had a ton of success and continue to have success with the on-site mentoring program. My top student flipped 150 houses last year. Just one student flipping 150 houses. I'll show you some of his checks here in a little bit. But I was featured on the cover of Mentors Magazine as America's top real estate mentor with my trademark theme, The Checks Don't Lie. The publisher of that magazine actually said nobody we've worked with has been more impressive or achieved greater result for their students. And that's what I'm most proud of. It's not my checks, it's your checks. Then Todd is evidenced by the volumes of success checks that his students regularly fax and email into his office. It's been said that Todd has more success checks from the students than all the other real estate gurus combined, and I'm really proud of that. This is a report that came in from Bruce out in Phoenix, my top student for the last couple years. You can see back in February of 2009, talks about the checks for the first half of February. They were $36,000, $116,000 for the year, and you see this pinch at 49th Avenue, East Mobile Avenue, Alta Vista, and I've got a copy of one of those checks. Ooh, hold on here. What happened there, buddy?
That's awesome.
Like
yeah, and I actually have. I did not know that Bruce was a student of yours because I talked to him not too long ago, and I also interviewed him for a for another project we were working on, and yeah, I mean I talked to him. It was I guess that was about back in October of 2010.
Yeah.
And he was doing a lot.
a lot
more than what you're showing now. He's
absolutely.
Now.
You'll see here that's just a copy of one of their checks that was listed there on Pinchot Avenue. This was a list, Tim, going back to May of 08. You see from May of 08 through December of 08, they did 40 transactions, and then starting in 2009, 41. They got to 79 transactions right there through April the following year, so 79 in that total year. At the end of that particular calendar year, here's an update in April of 2009, some more of the addresses. One of those checks there. And you see, folks, a lot of these checks are $6,000, $7,000, $5,000, $8,000, $9,000. You can get rich on little deals that you do over and over and over again, and they've gotten very proficient at it. And here are the 2009 results. They flipped 157 properties in 2009 alone. I'm happy to report that in 2010 they did exactly the same thing. Bruce is in my mastermind group. And many of you will get a chance to meet him this year, where I have regular meetings with some of my top students and keep them right on the cutting edge, the razor's edge. There's a shot of a mentoring group that I had out there in Phoenix, and Bruce is that tall guy in the red shirt right there in the middle, a shot of Bruce and I at one of the properties that they were flipping without fixing. Just exciting stuff. But sometimes people see these dates of 2009 or 2010. Most people don't have the volumes of checks that I do. But this is a check that he just sent me a while ago, and you can see on it $7,000 paid out to his company Bakerson, and that was January 28th of 2011. There's another one there, January 27, 2011. $5,000. So I continue to get these in, and it's one of the reasons that I was featured on the cover of Millionaire Blueprints magazine as America's reigning real estate rebel, where it said that I found my career calling, Tim, in an unlikely place. It was within the boarded-up walls of an abandoned house. And I continue to operate in that arena. I love it, and I love standing in the gap for folks and helping them really make a difference in their life. Speaking of California, this was a group that we had out in San Jose, California. This is the house that we got under contract in the east side of San Jose. If we have any listeners from the Bay Area, it was near James Lick High School. We did it, so can you. You have the same kind of goals and desires as this particular group. The only difference between you and them at this point in time is they plugged into one of our on-site mentoring groups. And this is a picture of the house that we got under contract, and we're getting ready to stage it, and I'm providing exit security right there in the street for our group. We went ahead and marketed this property, found a buyer. They went ahead and signed the contract. They took down the signs that we put up. You can see my stop sign on the tree and our investor special neon signs with immediate equity. They took down the signs. And the students that I trained made $23,000, and they didn't even touch the house. They bought it for $352, sold it for $375. Yes, they could have bought it, fixed it, rehabbed it, and resold it, but that would have required capital, qualifying for loans, a rehab schedule, holding cost, just too much entanglement. So instead, we got them in, we got them out. They made a quick $23,000 and never looked back and went on to have great real estate success. And I do this with groups all over the country. This was a group in Fort Worth, Texas, in front of what I would call a real ugly house. This is a funny house, Tim. Talk about ugly. It's almost like the homeowners started trying to paint the front of the house and stopped about halfway up and realized paint ain't going to fix this thing. And just abandoned the project. Of course, we drove by it, we found it, we tracked down the owner by any means necessary, like a special forces unit. Now, we did do a whole lot more work to this one. We actually fully renovated this. It's like America's greatest makeovers that you see on TV. So this is the before. So brace yourself, folks. Here's the before, and after tons and tons of work, here is the after. That's the after. You saw the before. Folks, we didn't do anything to the property. We bought it ugly, and we sold it ugly. That's a big key to your success, folks. And I want you to write that down. Buy ugly, sell ugly, because when you can do that, you have immediate and sustained success because price cures all. So write that down. Buy ugly, sell ugly, and price cures all. Now, if you want to keep it and fix it, you can. But for many of you, you just need to get in, get out, and get paid. And so that was the after. Here's our assignment fee. We normally get a check, but this time we just took the cash. They didn't even have a checking account. So our goal, mine and Tim's, for you is to help you become a full-time real estate investor, or if you're engaged in a career that you like, at least be making a full-time real estate income on part-time work. Keep your regular job, but really plug into real estate. So I'd like all of you just to jot down that you're a full-time real estate investor. I want you to go ahead and sign it, make that commitment. I'm looking forward to meeting you personally. I know Tim is as well. You can go ahead and date it, and it's the 16th of March, and I'm showing it's about 8:36 Central Standard Time. Tim and I call that Texas time now. So go ahead and fill that out. This is a great one that came in from one of my couples in Wisconsin. We're sending you a few more copies of checks from some of the deals. We're keeping up our part of the bargain, sending in the checks that don't lie. You and your team have truly changed our lives. These copies will show and encourage both new and existing members that everything we're taught really does work. As you can see, every check's not a home run, but it keeps them coming in, and the deals get bigger as you do. We are a search and destroy team, and we'll never look back. Talk about, being scarred for life and that whole being fully tactical. His wife, Carrie, is a second-grade teacher, but she's gotten so good at flipping properties, I call her G.I. Jane now. So no matter where you are, no matter what you do, you can develop that mindset to have real estate success. Here's some copies of their checks. The first one is $1,300, and then we drop down from there. There's one for 14,000. Some of them are small as well, but here's one for 64,000. Now these were back in 2008, but this is also a neat update that Jerry sent me. Hey Todd, here's a copy of the deal I closed today. Hope all is going well. Jerry and Carrie. Carrie says this will be the last snow check she'll be getting soon because they're going to be relocating near to Savannah, Georgia, near Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. So that's the past, and then this is the present checks. There's a picture of one of their properties with all of the snow. You can see their streamer flags, and they were able to get in, get out, and get paid. That was the day they bought it, and the day they sold it. They actually got it sold all in one day. Another copy of their check dated 3/9/2011. So, folks, this is recent history. We're not talking about 1985, which was a long time ago in a land far, far away. He says, I'm really not sure if this training really works. Big question mark. Obviously, it does. I don't know, for some reason people keep giving me checks fully tactical. So this stuff is really exciting. And so Jerry's a full-time real estate investor. Bruce is, all these folks that I'm showing you. So our goal for you is to be a full-time real estate investor. So we're going to say you need to make $10,000 to $15,000 in the next 30 days. Now, I know that's not all the money in the world, but I know that would put a lot of pep in your step, and it gets you either started or gets you restarted and gets you moving in the right direction with the right battle plan. And so the question is, if you're a full-time real estate investor, what do you need to have? What do you got to go out and find? And most people say, well, Todd, I got to go out and find some properties. And that there is the mistake. It's not about property. That's easy to find. It's easy to buy. When Tim and I fast rope into Southern California, we're not going to be buying property. We're going to be buying deals. When it's a deal, you can successfully get in, get out, and get paid without cash, without credit, and without luck. Now, the problem is most people that are getting started look for deals in all the wrong places. They look for them in the newspaper, and they get out their highlighter. They don't have one highlighter. They got 4, 5, or 6. They bought that combo pack from Office Max or Office Depot, and they start highlighting all these trigger words that they think indicate the seller is motivated. Must sell, needs TLC, fixer-upper, all of that type of stuff. And they start highlighting away and oftentimes calling these sellers. And they find out after several phone calls and many times actually even going out and looking at these properties that these sellers, they don't need to sell. They just want to sell in many cases. And today, of course, many people use the internet like Craigslist and they run these ads. But most people that run ads in the newspaper and Craigslist, they just aren't motivated. They want to sell, but they don't always need to sell. And so many investors start in the newspaper, and it's just not a great place to start to find deals. You can find deals there every once in a while, but every once in a while is not going to cut it, especially if you want to be a full-time real estate investor. Now, the next thing that people do is not only do they read the classified ads to find deals, they start running ads in the newspaper. I buy houses, or we take over payments. And again, this can be very expensive. It doesn't always create immediate success. You've got to oftentimes be in the paper for a while. Unless you get lucky right out of the gate, and it costs, like I said, a lot of money to do it. And so you can get some deals every once in a while, but it's not the best way. And so people read, they read the classified ads, they run ads in the newspaper, and they're not having the success that they had hoped. The other thing that they do is they call this guy. They start calling a realtor and asking for deals, and the realtor goes on to the MLS, and what he thinks are deals are simply properties. He goes on the MLS, prints out 8 or 10 properties for you, faxes your emails you a full-page run with a terrible picture in the upper left-hand corner and the purchase price in the upper right-hand corner and a bunch of stuff in between, and you find out if you start running numbers on it that it's not a good deal for you. If the only one it's a good deal for is him, because he's making a big commission. And so many people start with the newspaper, running ads in the newspaper, finding deals on Craigslist or running ads on Craigslist or counting on realtors, because it's what they've been taught by the glossy covered book writers who have a philosophy but they don't have a plan. And what happens is people begin to get frustrated. Now, yes, it can work every once in a while, but if you're a full-time real estate investor, every once in a while ain't going to cut it. If you're gainfully employed right now, imagine your employer coming to you this week and saying, hey, you're doing a really good job, and because of that, we're going to start paying you every once in a while. That wouldn't work in your current job, so it shouldn't work in your new job, which is a real estate investor. Now, the fourth thing that people do is they begin working with, bank foreclosures, and I'm a big advocate of flipping REOs. We're going to show you how to do that with our California REO flipping module, where we show you exactly how to flip these properties In many cases, even using our split title company model to get around transactional funding. Tim's lined up 20 private lenders that you would never have access to. You can't get it from anywhere else, not on any of his other materials or sites. He's set those aside specifically for us as we drop in Concord, California. But people start looking at bank foreclosures and they don't know how to do it. They don't realize oftentimes that most banks won't allow you to assign the contracts on REO properties. That you need a proof of funds, and people don't have that, or they don't know how to do double closing seamlessly with the REO properties, and so it becomes another roadblock for people as they're getting started. And Tim and I are going to help you overcome all those. And the fifth thing people do is they start looking at government foreclosures, usually the HUD properties, and oftentimes that's a bid process, and people are so desperate to do deals that many times they bid, and these properties go at or above market value. And it's amazing, so many people start in areas 1 through 5, and I affectionately call areas 1 through 5 wandering in the wilderness. And so many investors are stuck wandering in the wilderness. Now, if you've ever read the Bible or been to vacation Bible school or know anything about it, you know that the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness after they left Egypt for 40 years. Now, they were searching for the promised land. Moses was trying to take them there. Now, what you don't know, many of you, is that even though they wandered for 40 years, it was a straight shot of only 14 days. But they didn't listen. And what we're going to do, Tim and I, is we're going to take you from wandering in the wilderness, if you're there right now, and we're going to quickly escort you to the promised land in this California target operation that we've got, get in, get out, get paid, here in the next month. And we're going to take you from the wilderness from wandering in the wilderness right to the promised land. So I've put together through the years my tactical real estate system, which is really designed to collapse the time frames to show you how to get up and running. You see, I don't believe, and I know Tim doesn't, that you need 10 boot camps and a trip to South America, 3 years of boot camps to be successful. Literally, you need a handful of things to collapse the time frames, get you up and running and making money in this business. And that's why we're going to actually hold you by the hand and help every single person that attends make 100 of their own offers on just day one alone, and we're going to be together for 3 days. So imagine what we can accomplish. Some of the things that we're going to be looking at and doing will be wholesale buying, showing you how to find those properties in any market, how to locate the owners, whether they want to be located or not, techniques to flip these properties for instant cash, how to purchase and finance these properties if maybe you want to keep them and rent them or keep them and resell them. That's why Tim is bringing in these very powerful private lenders that you would never have access to. Closing strategies for today's markets. Double closings and simultaneous closings are alive and well. You just have to have the right title companies. We've already got those set up. Sometimes we use 2 title companies, a split title company model to facilitate it. It's right on the cutting edge. It's what Bruce and Jerry, some of the testimonials I read you moments ago, are doing in their markets. We're going to show you exactly how to do that. Tim, I'm excited about this. We're going to show them how to develop that investor database, those cash buyers out there. We're going to pop you onto some of our software. We're going to show you exactly who's buying down to the zip code level, so that when you get something under contract, you already know automatically who's going to buy it. We're going to show you how to work with out-of-state properties, and this is really important because many of you will be virtually flipping properties through our system. And we're going to put you through a career change workshop where literally you can replace the income on your job, not in 2, 3, 4, 5 years buying a bunch of rental properties, only to hate your new job, low-income landlord, more than the job you couldn't wait to get out of. Tim and I are going to run you through a 90-day career change workshop so you can replace the income on your job within 90 days, and we're going to set you free. I talked already about flipping REOs without cash. This is exciting stuff. It's one of my students, Adria, actually here in Fort Worth, who was using this REO system. It was an REO deal using your tactical get in, get out, get paid system. Hope you like the pics, and thanks so much for the help and support. And you can see she's excited. She said, I did it. She didn't really think she could do it, but with the right training and the encouragement and support, she was able to do it. Didn't make all the money in the world in her first deal, but it built her confidence. It helped. That became a springboard for her next deal, and she says, my second deal closes next week for right about the same profit. There's a picture of that house. You could see it was listed with the realtor. It was a bank-owned property. That's the before, Tim. Now here's the after. Now this, folks, this is a terrible job of the signs and the streamer flags. I say terrible, but it really isn't, because there's no way you can miss this. And that was the purpose. And if she was able to buy it like this and sell it like this, not do anything to the property whatsoever, she actually went ahead and put a lot of the cash right there in a nice little pile for me and for all of you, just to encourage you as well. And there's a copy of that check back from February of 2010, and a nice little payday of $9,000 for her. So this is exciting, and we want to help you become full-time real estate investors. And in order to do that, it's a three-step process. Step number one, and you won't hear this really talked about often in the training circles, and it really needs to be. Step one is you recover your training costs. I really believe you got to get right before you get rich. And how you get right is just do a deal or two. Recover your training costs, because when you recover your training costs, it helps you build your confidence. And it also begins to set you up to replace the income from your job. And when you replace the income from your job, now you're thinking more clearly, you've got money in your pocket, and then we can actually put you on the roadmap to wealth. I'm going to show you some of the properties that Tim and I have set up for you, not only in California, but if you want to reach out with our network in California or Hawaii or Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, or in Houston where Tim's at, we're going to show you how to build wealth through purchasing properties in the right areas. But in order to make all that happen, you got to get that cash going. And so we want to help you recover your training costs, build your confidence, replace the income on your job, and jump on that roadmap to wealth with us. That's what I helped Eric do out in Ojai, California. He said, as I said before, what I learned in your tactical real estate boot camp in the class in the first hour paid for the entire course. So what did he learn just in the first hour? Because I've been doing real estate investing for 5 years and visited the entire smorgasbord of real estate seminars. And after attending your tactical real estate boot camp, I found new and creative tactics and strategies in my real estate investing that I'd not been able to attain through any other real estate investing course, book, or seminar. And here is a copy of his check for $135,000. I want you to remember Eric, because we're going to close with him in just a little bit, and I want you to see just what's possible with this business. So $135,000 right out of the gate. Now, my story.
You know what?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to interject here real quick. It's funny because you're going through this, and I mean, I know I'm your student, but I don't follow all of your students. But it's funny because all of these people, a lot of these people you're talking about, like Eric Olson, I'm working on a deal with him right now. It's a commercial deal. It's a $5 million deal. And it's funny because, like, I didn't even know all of these people are your students. You know, it's almost like you can't go out there and find a successful investor out there actively in this market without tracing them back to you. It's funny, and I love that about you, the fact that you have so many students all across the country, and so many successful ones too. I mean, the ones that I'm doing deals with and working with. That's really awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. It is exciting, and so many of the people that have been successful out there, I've been fortunate enough to have been able to train them, and it's a blessing, and it's really my mission. It's my calling, and my story is not unlike a lot of people that are on this webinar tonight live, or will listen to the replay. When I got started in California, attended a live event, first bought a program off the TV, and I quickly realized that most of the gurus of the day had a philosophy. They didn't have a plan. And I also realized that so much of what was being marketed was sizzle, but they really didn't have a system for guaranteed, predictable, sustainable results. And ultimately, I found out that many people were accidentally successful. They weren't intentionally successful. My brother-in-law, Tim, he lives in Yorba Linda, California. He's a real estate millionaire, but he only owns one home. He bought a home in the mid-'90s, for probably $600,000-700,000. It's worth probably $1.7 million, $1.8 million, even in today's market. He's a real estate millionaire, but his success was accidental. It was camouflage. The market created his success, not the system that he was exposed to. And so really success is when you can intentionally drop into any market, get in, get out, get paid, and leave with a copy of the check. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So that was really my story as I got started. And ultimately, my journey led me to having great success and becoming the seminar industry's first fulfillment provider, where I became the fulfillment provider for pretty much every major media-driven guru of the day. Names like Russ Whitney, Ron LeGrand, Robert Allen, so pretty much anybody that you could name, I've been an outsourced provider, generally directly for their company or indirectly. And so I've been exposed to so many of them and helping their students successfully get in, get out, get paid, and that's what we'll be doing exactly with those that are listening tonight and to decide to join us. Because the system that I've got is a fast-track education on becoming a real estate investor. It's designed to completely collapse the time frames associated with people getting up and running in this business. You're not reading lots of books and having to listen to lots of tapes. You're up and running, and we show you literally in a 3-day window through total immersion training how to get in, get out, and get paid, and then do it over and over again. Speaking of some of the folks that I've fulfilled for and trained, this was me speaking at a Robert Kiyosaki event, and I always, as Tim knows, you know, I'm seldom in a suit. I'm the guy here, I'm the bald guy here with my Tommy Bahama gear, and you know, I was in front of a group of, you know, a couple thousand people, many of which were wandering in the wilderness, and I'm pretty passionate about this. I could see people really were wanting more than a philosophy. They wanted a plan. They were willing to spend the money, but they wanted some return on the money, and I was kind of fired up. And so I made a statement when I was there, and you can see Mr. Kiyosaki's got his arms folded. He wasn't too happy, but I meant it, and I challenged the industry and all those that were on the stage that particular day. And I said, listen, provide reality-based training that gets results regardless of the market price point. In other words, don't tell me, well, the prices are too high in California, so we got to take you to Phoenix or Las Vegas or St. Louis or some other, you know, duck shoot market. Get it done where the people live. So make, regardless of the market price points, or make way for someone who can. And I said, hey, listen, folks, I can get it done. I'll be in breakout room 101. Hope's not a course of action. You know, if the Navy SEALs taught real estate, this is what they'd be teaching. And you can imagine I had an overflowing capacity. You see, there's 3 stages to real estate investing. That's really all there is, especially as you're getting started, or many of you getting restarted. And that comes down to getting in, getting out, and getting paid. Don't be a smart investor who's got all these formulas and theories and knowledge and is still broke, who can't get in, get out, and get paid. Now, we talk about it. When it comes to getting in, you've got to know your market. And we call this your AO. We're going to show you in California how to set up your areas of operation. We're literally going to break down Los Angeles County and Orange County into a grid, where we're going to break a grid down into price points, inventory, and cash buyer activity. And we're going to show you how to lay that grid in your own market, whether you live in California or not. Maybe you're coming from Phoenix or Las Vegas or somewhere else. That's great. We're going to show you how to accomplish that in your own market as well as experience it right there in California. You've got to know the right property platform, and we'll be focusing on 1 to 4 unit properties, not just single-family homes, because so many investors are looking for cash flow. And it all comes down to the deal. Price cures all, and we're going to show you how to seamlessly and easily, quickly, effortlessly, efficiently find deals in today's market. That's getting in, and then getting out is where it begins to get fun. We're going to show you how to profile investors, those investors that have cash. We're going to show you how to go in and sort down to the zip code level cash buyers that are very active. We'll show you how to pre-qualify these investors, whether they have cash to work with, money in the stock market, self-directed IRAs or IRAs that we can help them self-direct, 401k rollovers, all those things. And you're going to learn exactly how to do that. And then how to maximize a cash buyer database or a sweat equity database for those people that want to actually buy it and move into it. That's going to help you successfully get out. And then ultimately getting paid. And when it comes to getting paid, it's dynamic exit strategies, which you're going to learn either to the investor who wants to fix and rent, fix and sell, or to that sweat equity homeowner that wants to buy some of these rundown properties to fix up and actually move into. So those are the 3 stages of real estate investing. These are some gals that I had in Fort Worth, Texas. They talk about their this latest deal was a $12,500 assignment fee. But what I really, really like down here is they talk about this deal that they did for $212,000. That's getting the big money now. It's cool to think that 10 months ago we did our first house for $1,000. We flipped 18 properties so far and have several in the pipeline. And these are also students of Tim, Roysan, and Cheryl. And there's a copy of their check and a picture of the 3 of us at one of our training events. So this is fun stuff. Now, not only are we going to expose you to wholesale buying in, out, and paid for properties you can buy cheap or cash, but we're also going to show you how to work with the exact opposite end of the spectrum, properties that are in foreclosure that have little to no equity, and how to take these properties subject to where literally the seller says, take the keys. They're going to deed the house to you. We're going to take it in a land trust. We're going to show you how to do that. We're going to take it subject to the existing financing. The mortgage will stay in their name, the property in your name. And then we are going to go flip the financing. And we're going to show you how to flip these properties to non-qual buyers that have cash who can make the payments that want to move into them. Many people refer to it as mortgage assignments. That's kind of a cool term that's out there. But, folks, I pioneered some of this flipping the financing stuff, as Tim knows, back in the early 2000s when most people didn't even have a clue about it. So we're going to show you how to work with subject to properties, how to hands-off title research, the ins and outs of land trust, flipping subject to financing, finding those non-qual buyers, land trust dynamics. And we're going to be going through the equity purchase agreement and the 5-day right of rescission specific to the California market. We know what we're doing. We've been there before, and I really encourage you to plug in, because what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be experiencing is real estate investing in the real world. No philosophy, straight on plan. How to operate with ease in wholesale and retail markets, getting in, getting out, and getting paid, buying it ugly and selling it ugly, but buying it pretty and selling it pretty. How to assault your city. When we lay this grid down, you're going to see how we literally drop in with overwhelming and superior firepower. How to use your competition's advertising against them. Nobody teaches this. It's going to be very personalized. We're not doing this event to a group of 50 people. We're going to be doing this to a group of probably 10, 15 people. And we're not accepting just anybody. It's an application process. And for those of you that really want to turn the corner and make this happen. Now, not only will we be covering wholesale buying and the pre-foreclosure subject to stuff, ultimately, Tim and I are going to be providing on-site mentoring, on-site field training, boots on the ground mentoring right where many of you live and invest or where you want to invest, and we'll show you how to dominate your market, targeting properties in your area, how to find and flip properties, REOs, short sales, how to raise money from non-banking sources. Tim's already set aside, which is just phenomenal, 20 private lenders that you couldn't get access to from any of his materials, any of his sites. These are proprietary, as well as he's going to be sourcing some private seller leads, and not the leads that you might find on his due deal site, which is a great site. You'll have access to that as well. But we're talking some things that you'll only get if you're part of this group. How to make 100 offers on day one. I can't emphasize how important this is. You'll be making more offers, many of you, on day one alone than you've made in your entire life as an investor, and I can't emphasize how powerful that is. And because I've been in every major market in the country, I don't care where you're coming from. I don't care if you're joining us in California, you live in Phoenix, in Las Vegas, Boston, San Jose. You will be making 100 offers with our virtual offer system in your own market, even while you're sitting there in the Los Angeles and County and Orange County mentorings with us, as well as making offers in California. And everybody will see this virtual offer system and have the ability to flip properties nationwide. Tim, I can't believe we're offering it, and certainly offering it for the price that we're going to offer it for. You and I with our private client work have charged an arm and a leg for this, and it's been well worth it, as evidenced by the checks. But what we've got put together for folks is just unbelievable. Here's a shot of me assaulting the streets of Oakland, California, with some folks in one of my on-site mentoring groups. You can see we have a lot of fun doing this. We get out where it happens. Me recruiting one of those bird dogs Tim was talking about, the ice cream truck. This guy's driving around selling ice creams for $2, and I said, listen, I'll pay you $500 for every deal that I do here in the Bay Area. Anyone calls me off the ice cream truck, and of course he said yes, get me signed up right away, and we put that magnet right on the back of his vehicle. This is some planning at our command center. You can see it was a Starbucks, and we had look at all these areas that we had highlighted and gridded out for us literally to drop in and attack this market. And folks, you have to attack. Don't advertise and wait. Attack and get paid. That's what we're going to be doing. This is one of my students. I wanted to send you a copy of my check from a deal out here in California. This is a sniper rifle deal out of San Bernardino County. I put the house under contract for $219,000. I signed the contract to a person wandering in the wilderness for $11,000, $3,000 non-refundable, $8K at closing. The funny thing about this is he's going to Russ Whitney boot camp in October. There's a picture of Jonathan in his early 20s when he pulled this out, a copy of the assignment of contract, which we're going to walk you completely through, how to use it, how to do the double closings, no stone left unturned, and then a copy of his check. And that's exciting stuff. Just get in,
Right.
get out, get paid. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm fired up. You can
Yeah,
go.
and I love how you're showing checks, not just the new one, not just the current one, but even the older ones as well, because what you teach doesn't just work in today's market. It has worked like way back when, and it continued to work. I mean, it's one of the most consistent strategy out there that's that you can depend on, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, or whether the market's up or down, that they continue to work. And I love how you're showing checks from all different years, from all different students from all around the country, to show how proven this system is. And so yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for us to go out there, and hit the street and attack California there. And yeah, like you said, I mean, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I certainly have never done this. I know you drop in on cities and help students do deals in those cities many times already, but I've never personally done it. So I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I've never made my private lenders, my exclusive private lenders, available to anybody. And I know that the California market is really really right now for the taking. And so not only I'm coming out there with you, but yeah, like you said, I'm going to bringing in the seller leads with me for us to do deals. I'm going to be bringing the cash buyers leads with me. These are my personal leads that I'm bringing out. And I'm also be bringing out my personal private lenders as well. So, so that way, you and I and the group that we'll be working with here in, out in California is going to be fully equipped to do all the deals that we want to do out there. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, me too. And I tell you, that's why at the bottom of the screen, why we guarantee your results. We're bringing in so much firepower, Tim and I together, that there's no way to screw this up unless you just don't participate. It's just that's how powerful and palatable it is. And like Tim said, so many people that have crossed our paths. We talked about Bruce in Phoenix, but there's another big investor out there, Dwayne, that Tim, that you know as well, in Phoenix, and I trained him in a mentoring group recently. It just all these circles run together. People that we've been able to touch, and we've done this for a long time and continue to have success. It's not just a flash in the pan. And part of that is the fact that having developed the first mentoring program in the nation, folks, I've been in every market in the country, so I can tell you exactly where to go. If you're in our Los Angeles mentoring and you live in Sacramento and you're wondering which neighborhoods to go to, I can tell you, listen, you need to go to Oak Park. It's page 317 on the Thomas Guide, or go to Del Paso Heights, page 277 and 278. Nobody in the country can give you that sniper rifle specific information about the market. And when Tim and I are combining our joint forces and having fun, we guarantee you're going to be successful. You'll recover the cost of your training in cash or equity, pretty much right out of the gate. Hard to mess that up. So we've got some great stuff that's planned. I just can't wait to get plugged in. Folks, you can do this for basically $5,000. I've been involved in mentoring programs through the years. I know Tim has, where people are paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 for this type of training, and we've put it together specifically just for Tim's clients for $4,997. Tim, people charge just for boot camps that are 4- and 5-day boot camps that have half day of content and 3.5 or 4 days of selling, for goodness sake. And we're
Right.
dropping in without a net. We're hitting the streets for 3 days. You and I, no cardboard cutout figures, no stand-ins. It's you and me personally doing this. I just don't see how anybody in the world that's serious about this would not take us up on it. Plus, we guarantee, they'll be successful. But not only do you get the 3-day training, Tim's lenders, we're going to set you up with $1 million proof of funds account, so you can, going forward, you can verify you've got funds to close. And it's not just for this 3 days; it's ongoing with this program. You'll not only will you make 100 offers on day one, we're going to set you up on a system to make 300 offers a month, and do that very, very part-time. So just no way to screw that up. And additional quick action bonuses you'll get. I've got a 5-day tactical real estate boot camp that I filmed that I put on DVD, and so all of you will have access to that. It's kind of your pre-work to get you prepped on this system, so you'll be exposed to what Tim was exposed to years ago. It's just the updated versions of that because much has changed since 2004. You're going to get a success kit with all the contracts and marketing, the PowerPoint presentation of that boot camp, quick start calls, mentoring quick start calls, and even a chance to attend one of my upcoming mastermind meetings where you can meet people like Bruce and Jerry, people that are doing, 10 deals a month or more. So just we've got it set up where there's really no way to mess this up. $5,000 is a fraction of one of your flips in California, certainly, and really, most of your flips anywhere USA. I believe Tim's going to be setting you up not only with his private lenders and some of the cash buyers that he's got, but also access to his due deal system if you're not already set up on that. So you're going to have all the firepower plus us there to help you go operational. This is one of my clients that I had out in Tampa, and they talk about wandering in the wilderness and getting their first deal done actually while the mentor actually happened to be there. And it was a burnt-out property, as ugly as it gets. It was condemned by the city, and it's so cool that they actually got the property under contract. And here's a picture of that property. You can actually see my purple stop sign on the door. That's the before picture. There's the after picture, folks. They didn't rehab it, folks. It was burnt. They bought it burnt, and they sold it burnt. And they made $5,100 in a check and $1,000 in cash. Tim probably knows these folks as well. Probably didn't realize I trained Lydia, who you know from the Tampa market, and got involved in flipping properties on eBay. And so there is Tom and Lydia. I love this picture, Tim. Tom's got that check, but Lydia's got that cash money. She's off and rolling. And folks, we want copies of your checks too. That's part of the deal here, by the way. This is an application process. You can't buy your way in. Tim and I have to approve you, and part of that's going to be that you got to give back a little bit. And part of the way you do that is follow what we're teaching you. Now that'll be easy because I'm going to give you a loving kick in the assets, and I know Tim will help in that process as well. We're going to show you, how to safely and successfully do this, no matter where you're at right now in your investing career, starting out, maybe starting over, or you're already having a lot of success and you want to stay on top with what we're talking about. It'll be an application process, to get plugged in to this, and part of that is that when you flip some properties, you need to send us a copy of your check and a picture, and just report back so that you can stand in the gap and encourage other people that really want to invest in real estate, that want to move beyond a philosophy. They really want a real-time plan. Now, you saw this property before as we started. Most people would drive on by this as fast as they could go, and you saw how we were able to flip it literally, within 24 hours. This was the back of the house, if it helps you decide, and we made, $3,500 in less than 24 hours. Now, the beautiful thing is we flipped it to a family, a sweat equity buyer, and this is what it looked like after they began to work on it. That's a picture of the back. I mean, look at the transformation. They did it, though we did. We were in, we were out, and we were paid, and I love this. This is a picture of Chris in my office actually signing the contract with the family. The neighbor next door was interpreting because he didn't want to live next to that dump any longer, and I love this little boy. You can see he rolled up that neon sign that we had in the front, that it was for sale. And, Tim, what's neat about this is this family had driven by that house for almost 3 years. They had every other family members in that area, and they wanted to move into this neighborhood. They had noticed this house, wanted to buy it for 3 years, but didn't know it was for sale until a sign went up. And that's the power of information. When I see a vacant house, a rundown house, I know exactly how to track down the owners, figure out the value, what to offer, and we're going to teach everybody exactly how to do that. And this is a collage of pictures. There's mansions here. There's burnt-out houses. There's ranch homes. It doesn't matter. You can do all this without banks, without qualifying, and without a money partner who's going to take half your deal. We're going to supply private lenders for you, assuming you even need to close on these deals. We've got it all set up for you. So as we begin to wrap up here a little bit, remember, to get in the business and stay in the business, you've got to buy and sell to create cash. And, we call this flipping. And you've got to buy and hold to create wealth. And we're going to show you exactly how to do these types of flips. We have fast flips, which are assignments of contract. We're going to show you exactly how to do it, how to fill out the paperwork, how to get paid up front. Delayed flips, which are your double or simultaneous closings, how to do that in today's market. The title companies and attorneys that will do that in your market. And then slow flips, eventually moving in for some of you into what we would call retailing properties, where you actually buy it, fix it, and retail it to a homeowner. So those are some of the types of flips. I love this testimonial. It's from a young couple. They start off, remember, Tim, we talked about moving from the wilderness to the promised land, and it was Moses who took the Israelites out of Egypt into the promised land. They start this testimony off with, "Holy Moses, we did it," and it worked just like you said. I can still remember sitting on the training Friday morning waiting for your camp to start. My fiance and I were dead-end jobs, attending college full-time. We were in debt to our eyeballs, couldn't see a way out. We were full of all the doubts in the world, wondering what we just got ourselves deeper in the hole. They didn't have the money. They put it on a credit card. They really didn't know what they were about to get themselves into. About 4 months later, this young couple flipped their first property. That's longer than it takes most people. But, hey, they were in their late teens, early 20s. And he goes on and says, we put it under contract. It had been red tagged by the city. It was in rough condition. Didn't think anyone would want to buy it. Surprisingly enough, more than what 30-something people called on the first day. It was funny because they were still wandering in the wilderness while I was watching and bidding the deal in which we made $9,000. They talk about some future deals and how they're now married and love the extra free time this career has given them. That's a picture of this couple. I want to say Lilia was 18 or 19 when she came through, Tim. Jose was 20. And our full-time real estate investors today in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as a result of this training. That was a picture of one of their houses and members of their local real estate club there in the Albuquerque market. And, of course, a copy of the check. Folks, anybody can send a glowing testimonial, but when you have a check attached to it, that makes it audited. Now, I talked about Eric Olson, and Tim actually chimed in as well, said, I'm working on a commercial deal with this guy. I didn't know you trained him. This is a check he sent us. I'm a little late with this last check. I've been on vacation for almost a month. Returned from a trip in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, Napa wine country. The reason I bring this up is before I got into real estate business, I was unable to take vacations working as a chef. And now with the systems I have learned, I spend more time with my family. And as you know, the checks don't lie. And listen to this, folks. And neither do the kids when they talk about the time we spent together on our last vacation. Let's get to the point. Here's a classic Todd Dotson tactical real estate deal. And there's a picture of Eric and his son on that fishing trip, just enjoying what real estate provides. And it should be a lifestyle. It's money to live on, to do what you want, when you want, how you want, whether it's coaching your kids' teams, taking vacations, being able to work for a charitable organization, teach a Sunday school class. Folks, real estate should provide you that as long as you learn it the right way. And it's not an accident that I trace back to so many of these people that have not only started in the business, they've stayed in the business because they learned right from the beginning how to get in, get out, and get paid. And, of course, a copy of that check. Now, the great news about all of this stuff and why I'm fired up, why I'm excited, and I know why Tim is excited, is that coming soon, it's going to be your check. And that's why I do this. I know it's why Tim does it, and we want your testimonial. We want your success. Folks, we're going to hand deliver it to you. And one of the things that I want to share, and one of the things you've got to really realize, in today's world, the poor focus on survival. The poor folks focus on survival. The middle class, which many of you are in, focus on maintenance. They just want to maintain what they have. You know, they don't want to lose anything. They don't want to step out. They're risk averse. But the wealthy, they're always building. And we're going to show you how to experience real estate without risk, how to get in, get out, and get paid, and how to do that in today's market so that you can actually have your name on one of these checks. You can send me or Tim the check if you want, and you can keep the copy. Tim, it's never happened in all the years that I've done this, and I know you sent me copies, but you never sent me the actual checks. But we want copies of your checks, folks, to show others that this stuff actually works. You know, tomorrow's going to be a great day for many of you because you're going to decide you want to get plugged into what Tim and I are doing. We're only going to take a handful of people, and you're going to decide that you want to pull the trigger and go to the next level. And we're excited to help you in that process. This was a group that I took to Hawaii. They were buying and selling to create cash, and now we successfully showed them how to buy and hold to create wealth in this market. This is my youngest student. Listen to this. Now listen to this, folks. No, that's good stuff, folks. That's real good stuff. My youngest student, her dad, Tim probably knows him too, Ray Minton from Sacramento, been a very successful real estate investor, was working 70, 80 hours a week managing a Toyota dealership, didn't have the time to spend with her and her family, and real estate was set him free, and it was the getting in, getting out, and getting paid, and they were part of that Hawaii buying retreat and Hawaii mentoring that we did there. So really, folks, the choice is yours. If you come on this journey with us, not only are we going to show you how to buy and sell to create cash, when you want to start holding to create wealth, I can put you on this beach in one of those condominiums for about 200 grand. It's a vacation rental. It's got positive cash flow. There's no way to screw it up with this system, but it all starts first with you flipping a property or two to recover your training costs, build your confidence, replace the income on your job, and then get on that roadmap to wealth. And Tim and I are going to show you exactly how to do that. We couldn't make it any easier. You can get plugged in for $4,997, so just about $5,000 bucks. That's a fraction of one deal. You'll see at the bottom, results guarantees in place. I've done this for so long, it's predictable. My mentors and Tim and I will support you until you recover the cost of your training in cash or equity. So you have nothing to lose. You have follow-up support. You have our email address. You have our cell phone numbers. We're going to help you get in the trenches, have real estate success. All you've got to do is listen, act. We're going to help you do that. And we need a copy of your check and your success story after you've done it. Folks, indecision costs a fortune. Don't think about this. Don't say, well, maybe someday I'm going to get involved. Right now, for the next 2 or 3 years in this country, real estate is at rock bottom prices. It's like 1990, 1991 all over again, but even better. Now is a great time to engage the target to have real estate success. We want you to plug in with us. So $49.97, that's the 3-day training. It's all the things we've talked about, 100 offers on day one, a system to do 300 offers a month through our virtual offer system, that $1 million proof of funds, Tim's 20 private lenders, Tim's cash buyers, Tim's private seller leads, 3 days with Tim and I, hands-on with a very, very small group. You can't buy your way into this. There's an application process, and I want to give you a website that you need to go to. Of course, you get the things we talked about earlier, the boot camp DVDs, everything that you see here on the screen, including one of my mastermind meetings that are coming up. But in order to jump in, you've got to go through this application process. It's a simple application process, but we want to make sure that people are serious. It's not just a matter of, can you pay for it with a gold card, but hey, are you really willing to get out there and do it? Because we're only taking a limited number, and we know at this price point we can fill up the numbers very, very easily. So you need to go to Tim's flagship site, which is dodeals.com, www.dodeals.com/get-paid. That's www.dodeals.com/get-paid. Fill out that application, and then I and Tim and our team will be personally calling you tomorrow and the next day. So we'll be personally calling you, going through that application with you, getting some of you set up to join us here in the next month. We'll give you those dates as well. But Tim, I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm great. I'm just excited that we reconnected here on this, and that you could see some of the folks that I trained that you didn't even know. So how cool. Tim, anything else that you want to leave them with before they rush out and get those applications done?
Right, and just remember, we have to make this event extremely exclusive. This is not something that we want to open up to hundreds of people or thousands of people. And just my personal private lender list alone, I can't give you. I can't give out my private lenders to too many people because, number one, I don't want a bunch of people contacting my private lenders, and I certainly don't want a bunch of people borrowing money from them, and then they'll be out of money for me to use on these deals. And so we have to keep it extremely restricted. The truth of the matter is, if I was to sell my private lender contact for $5,000 just on that alone, I bet you anything there's plenty of people would buy it because
You're right.
I mean that list is worth a few $1 million in private money. So for someone to use those private lenders and and do just one deal, it probably saves them more money than if they use hard money lenders or other type of funding. And that's just off of their first deal. I mean, imagine all of the deals that you can do. And you can use my private lenders not just for the single-family homes deals, but you can also use it for commercial deals as well. It's up to you how you want to how you want to use this. But this is the first time ever that I've like sort of opened up my personal investing company resources like my private lenders and our cash buyers for students to be able to tap into. And so this is a truly a one-time opportunity for you to be able to take advantage of this. And I just want to do this is because I know that California is perfect right now for us to do these deals with, and so I wanted to make sure that that the students that will be working with Todd and I out there, that we arm you with everything that you need to succeed from day one. And so that's why we're making it available. Like Todd said, you cannot buy your way into this. I mean, even if you have $5,000 cash now, you want to throw it at us, you're not going to be able to get into this. You do have to apply for it. So go to apply at dodeals.com/getpaid, dodeals.com/getpaid, GETPAID, and apply for it, be a part of it. We look forward to working with you out there, and looking forward to doing some deals with you. I know there's a lot of money to be made in California. The numbers there, it's a lot bigger than the numbers here in Houston. Instead of doing a $30,000 deal, you're doing a $300,000 deal, and so I know there's a lot of money to be made out there in California, especially the Los Angeles is where we're going to be targeting. But of course, I mean, we'll teach you exactly. Todd knows exactly where you need to go in your own neighborhood to find these deals. And so, with that, we'll take some questions. And if you guys have some questions, go ahead and submit it to the question here. Todd, here's a question that came in. What's your target market in California?
The target market, well, we're going to be focusing right now in both Los Angeles and Orange County. And then what we do is we'll grid the cities out. So like we might hit Santa Ana in Orange County, maybe Long Beach in Los Angeles County. But what we'll do is we'll be laying a grid over the city, literally both counties. And what happens is when we lay that grid over, where we look at inventory, price points, and cash buyer activity, certain zip codes will emerge. And so we'll show everybody exactly how to do that. And that's very, very powerful because that's a blueprint that you can apply into any country, any market in the country. And then while we're there, people will be able to ask me, and Tim, you've seen me do this live, where I go around the room, ask people where they're from, and I tell them exactly where to go in their market, down to the zip code level, what to offer on properties and their assignment and double closing thresholds. So people will have access to that, live when you and I are conducting this training. So that alone is worth the price of admission. It's invaluable.
Right, exactly. And so, definitely take advantage of that, and so that way you guys, know exactly where you need to go to invest in California, especially those of you who are in California, because California is one of the toughest markets, out there. And if you don't know exactly where in California to make money, you're going to have a much harder time. And the challenge with a lot of the national real estate trainers, like myself included, for example, I know that my stuff works in California, but see, I can't pinpoint you exactly where you need to go in California. And I can guarantee you, if you ask anybody, any other guru out there, whether it's I'm just going to throw out some names, some popular names like Preston Ely or Dan Merrill, or Ronald Grant, any of those guys out there, and you ask them, hey, where in California should I go to do some wholesale deals and start making money in the first 30 days, the first month? They're not going to know you. Like, I don't know, anywhere, right? So they'll give you just some blanket, some general statement. See, Todd's not like that. I mean, he's out there in the trenches. He knows exactly where you need to go, the exact neighborhood you need to go, and I mean, there's a whole lot of value in that, and that's what I.
And Tim, that's so important. A couple of those guys that you mentioned live in San Diego, and I can tell you, San Diego, it's Normal Heights south of Adams Street. I mean, that's very target specific. I had no idea you were going to mention the San Diego market, but that's how tight we can get you, folks. Nobody in the country can do that. I've only been blessed because I've been able to mentor in all the markets in the country, and those are all very successful, as Tim knows, investors. But we're going to be teaching things and showing things that just nobody else has the ability to do, and so that's why I'm excited about it. And I know just people that are listening are excited live or that will listen to the replay.
Right. All right. Here's another question from Jerry. If we are in Northern California, will we get equal support?
Absolutely.
As far as the answer from me, the answer is yes. Yes. The private lenders that I have, they lend in all of California. So yes.
And also, I was born in Oakland and raised in San Jose, so I know Northern California extremely well, like the back of my hand. So anybody that's from the Bay Area or in and around there, or Central Valley, I know it very, very well. So that's not a problem whatsoever. In fact, you'll make 100 offers on day one alone in your own market there in California. Remember, we send out pre-work to get you prepped for this. And so that's part of the training protocols. That's why we have this application process, so that you'll be equipped with our help to make those offers on day one.
Right. And here's another question from Jim. Todd, you mentioned it earlier, but I've heard now is the best time in history to be in real estate investing. Is that right?
I really think that our markets are rock bottom. You can look back to the Great Depression when families like the Kennedys and the Rockefellers and the Mellons basically were gobbling up property, and there was a great consolidation of real estate. We saw that for the second time, that second wave in 1990, 1991, on the heels of the Resolution Trust Corporation, where there was all the failed banks and savings and loans. We saw it a little bit in 2003 and 4 with the consolidation of vacation resort properties, and then of course the markets bottomed out. And I really believe we're seeing a fourth consolidation that's occurring right now, where smart people, savvy people are taking advantage of these rock bottom prices. I know that I'm dealing with a lot of guys that are coming out of Wall Street that are very sophisticated, that have money, that understand the asset value and the commodity value of real estate. In other words, what's the wood worth? What's the wiring worth? What's the roofing materials worth? Because you need to understand, folks, we're buying properties at, depending on the market, anywhere from 20 to 50% of replacement costs. So when you're buying a property at 20 to 50% of what it costs to build it, you almost have a guaranteed bump in forced appreciation. And I don't want to get too technical, but these are some things that we'll be talking about. And there are so many people that see that, not only in our country that are sophisticated investors coming out of Wall Street, but also a ton of foreign investors that are coming across the seas to buy in the United States. So we should be able to come across city and state lines, for goodness sake, and take advantage of these opportunities. And now the window's wide open. It won't be open forever, but it's open right now. And what a great opportunity! And what a great time to drop in and really conquer California.
Right. Exactly. All right. Okay. Well, we are running out of time for today, and so we'll go ahead and wrap up this webinar. So everybody, go ahead and take advantage of this one-time opportunity right now by going to www.dodeals.com/getpaid, dodeals.com/getpaid, and go ahead and apply. And either Todd and I are going to contact you, and see if you are the right fit for us to come out there and invest in these properties with us. And so go ahead and one more time, GTails.com/getpaid, GETPAID. And Todd, I want to thank you so much for being on this this webinar with us, and giving myself and our students here the opportunity to go out there to California to invest with you. I'm really pumped up about it. I'm really excited about it, and yeah, I want to see us make history with all of these students here, and get all of them paid within the first 30 days of the events and all of the activities. I mean, with all of the with all of the leads and resources that we have lined up for them, I can't even imagine how they cannot make this thing extremely successful.
Yeah, the only way not to succeed is not to act, and that's why we guarantee it here at the bottom of the screen. So I'm fired up. And I know you are, and within the next month or so, we'll be out there in California. So fill out those applications, folks. I'll be calling you personally. Tim will, and one of the mentors on my team will. Let's lock and load. Let's get after it. Let's roll up our sleeves, hit the streets where the action actually happens. Let's get in, get out, get paid, and let's roll this thing out. Thanks for having me on the call tonight, buddy. It's been a great time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. All right, thank you everybody for being on this webinar, and I look forward to, well, both Todd and I look forward to working with you out there in California. Get in, get out, get paid, and talk to you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Todd.